sports, some stories can slip through the cracks.
Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules.
Pelican Brewing presents the Daily Ticker, where Dirt and Sprague hit the big stories you've heard about, and some you haven't.
How'd you do that? Actually, I'm not even mad. It's amazing.
Pelican invites you to take a beach break at one of their coastal locations: Pacific City, Tillamook, Cannon Beach, Lincoln City, and coming soon to Rockaway Beach. Pelican Brewing, born at the beach.
All right, Daily Ticker time on a Tuesday, brought to you as always by our great friends at Pelican Brewing Company. Their Hard Hops presents today's Daily Ticker. Discover Hard Hops Blackberry Hop-infused hard seltzer and experience your hops differently. I believe we have resolved our YouTube issues, according to Jason Swigert. That's what he's telling me. We'll see if we can get back up and running. Apologies to anybody watching on there. Let's talk about the big game of the weekend with our good friend Adam Rittenberg of ESPN, at ESPN Rittenberg on Twitter, senior college football writer for ESPN. Adam, good morning to you. The thing that you can kind of blanket say about so many teams in college football is they haven't played anybody, and that's certainly true in Oregon and Penn State. What do you make of the two teams and how they're kind of heading into this big matchup against each other?
Yeah, good to be with you guys. I think, again, we probably know a little bit more about Oregon than Penn State, but there's a lot of unknowns. I think there's two quarterbacks who certainly have the potential to be in the mix for big-time awards, and Dante Moore has been really impressive to me so far. But again, haven't seen defenses nearly as talented as the ones on either side that will be there. Again, Penn State, the big story is, can they win the big game? And that's been the issue for James Franklin. What I would point out in a lot of those losses is, has he had the better team? And I think in most cases he hasn't. I think a lot of people would look at this matchup, given where it's being played, the experience level on both teams, and probably give Penn State a little bit of an edge. But they've got to get it done. And Oregon has certainly won some big games under Dan Lanning. They're not going to be intimidated going into State College. But we'll find out a lot about both of these teams. And the good thing is it's not an elimination game, and there'll be other opportunities for even the team that comes up short on Saturday night.
Adam Rittenberg thinks what of Oregon if they go into Penn State and win?
Well, I think that they're then possibly the team to beat in the Big Ten again. Because they got eliminated so early in the playoff, people forgot what they did during the regular season, which was beat Ohio State and win the Big Ten and go undefeated. And if they were to win this game, there wouldn't be a more impressive win anywhere in the country this year. LSU's win at Clemson has been invalidated given what's gone on with Clemson lately. Miami has a nice win over Notre Dame, but that was at home, and Notre Dame lost the second game. So I don't think there would be a better win in college football than if the Ducks can go into State College because of who's on this Penn State team. Penn State may not turn out to be a great team. We don't know yet, but look at who's at quarterback. Look at who their coaching staff is. Look at their star power on the defensive side of the ball. So this would really change how a lot of us are viewing this Oregon team nationally and say, hey, they're not just a team that can get back to the playoff. They're a team that can make a run, unlike last year, and certainly contend for the national championship.
Is there one or two things that you're looking for in this game, whether it be a weakness or a strength or a matchup, just one or two identifiers that you're trying to point out and say this might end up deciding the outcome of it?
Well, I think Oregon's offensive line being able to protect Dante is critical because this is a very, very good defensive front for Penn State. Even though Abdul Carter's no longer there, he's in the NFL, obviously. Denai Dennis Sutton, anyone who watched the college football playoff was noticing Denai Dennis Sutton as much or more than Abdul Carter. So, having him, Zane Durant's one of the better interior linemen in college football. They're getting Zariah Fisher healthy, it seems like, going into this game. So that's a pretty full-strength defensive line with a coordinator in Jim Knowles, who certainly has faced Oregon a couple of times last year. Once didn't go well for him. The second time it went extremely well for him. So I think that matchup, the Jim Knowles-Will Stein matchup, but also just the Penn State defensive front against Oregon's offensive line, which, again, was a signature position group under Mario Cristobal and has been a signature position group under Dan Lanning as well.
Another big one up north here in the Pacific Northwest is going to be Ohio State coming to Seattle. Huskies haven't fared rather well against number one ranked teams, but it's a big opportunity coming off a 59-point Apple Cup win. High-powered offense with some questions on defense. What are you expecting to see from Jed Fish and the Huskies year two hosting an Ohio State team coming in number one?
Well, I expect to see points. I mean, Ohio State, we saw what they did against Texas, obviously, in the opening game, but Texas has had some problems after that point. And not to say that Ohio State isn't a good defense. I think they're a very good defense. This is a much better offense, at least from what I can tell, that they're facing, especially on the road this week. In talking with Jed Fish in the preseason, Jimmy Doherty, their offensive coordinator, I know there's a lot of optimism about what they can be offensively, and you'd be hard-pressed to find a better triple threat right now around the country than Damon Williams Jr., Jonah Coleman, who, again, people need to realize how good he is and what he can be for Washington this year, and then Denzel Boston at receiver. I know they have other receivers that can attack. So this will be a really good opportunity to see just how good this Ohio State defense with Matt Patricia leading the way can be on the road. I do think Ohio State is going to score the ball, though. I think Washington's defense has had a few too many hiccups early in the year to give me a lot of confidence that they're going to shut down Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate and Max Clare and Julian Sayin. I think this is a big game for Julian Sayin on the road as a freshman, essentially going into Husky Stadium. Tough environment, but I think he'll have opportunities to attack this Washington defense. So wouldn't shock me, guys, if this game got into the 30s, even though Ohio State has been very stingy in terms of allowing points so far. They just haven't seen a complete offense yet like the one Washington has.
Yeah, not to mention being on the road. That's a big part of it. Adam Rittenberg, our guest, senior college football writer for ESPN, at ESPN_Rittenberg on Twitter. You can go give him a follow there. When you look around the country, I guess what's the biggest surprise to you? Like, I'll throw three different things at you. The implosion of Oklahoma State and what has transpired there, maybe seeming like the writing's on the wall, it's over. Luke Fickell has been a disaster at Wisconsin, and their fans were yelling to fire him throughout the entire game as they get smoked at home by Maryland.
Good time to give an extension.
And then the Dabo thing, like how do we avoid the Dabo elephant in the room? Like, what do you make of some of these disastrous starts for respected or once respected head coaches?
Well, if you ask me who's most surprising, it's the Dabo thing because, they were set up as a team that a lot of us thought was a clear favorite in the ACC after winning that conference, kind of a backdoor conference win last year, but they still did it. And you looked at what they had coming back on the defensive line, at quarterback, at receiver, at some of the positions that they've traditionally been strong. And, yeah, it's been a meltdown. I mean, that performance against Syracuse, there was nothing fluky about it. They were humbled on their home field, and I think that's why you saw the reaction from Dabo and even yesterday, still trying to climb out of a place he hasn't been in a long time as a head coach. The other two situations, again, I covered Oklahoma State's regular season finale at Colorado last year, and it was one of the worst games I've ever watched. Colorado didn't even play well, and they won 52-0. I mean, I think they were sacked. Shadur was sacked like 7 or 8 times. It didn't matter because Oklahoma State had just given up, and it was just a brutal watch. Anyway, so that was my mistake for going to that game. But I guess my point is I'm not shocked that Oklahoma State is still trying to figure it out, and it probably will result in new leadership there. I think that's the athletic department as a whole that's looking for a pivot, and that pivot will likely come here in the next few weeks or months. So, and then in Wisconsin, yeah, it's just, we all thought that Luke Fickell was going to be that hire to take Wisconsin from the land of very good to elite, and it's been just the opposite. And part of that is a string of quarterback injuries that they continue to have with Billy Edwards Jr. now, the latest. Part of it was a bad decision to try to go to the air raid his first 2 years, and that just isn't going to work at Wisconsin, and they're paying the price for that. And also the league has gotten tougher, and they were a team in the Big Ten West, and sometimes you didn't have to play Ohio State or Michigan, but you also never had to worry about Oregon or Washington or USC or any of these other teams. So it's just been a combination of factors that has put Wisconsin, really in its most vulnerable position in a generation. They haven't been this down as a program in a very long time.
I'm putting you a little against it here, and I should have texted this to you when I reached out to see if you could hop on, but my co-host has his dirty poll, his top 12 teams of college football, since his nickname is Dirt. I'm curious if we can get Rittenberg's top 12 rankings. Who would your top 12 teams in college football, if you were to try to guess the 12 best teams in the sport that'll eventually get to the playoff, who would Adam Rittenberg put on that list?
Oh, so we're doing playoff, or we're just doing top 12 anywhere?
Yeah,
Let's
because
just
those
do-
are
let's just
different
do
because
top
then you got
12.
group of
You're right,
five
group of
included
five,
and
yeah.
conference
Let's
champions and all
exclude the
that.
Memphises and the Tulanes for now. Who would your top 12 teams be?
Okay. Yeah, so we do a power ranking, so I can try to throw this together every
Okay.
week. So I think my latest power ranking, I don't know if I'm getting this completely right, but it was Ohio State 1. I think I actually went Georgia 2, Miami 3, but you could make a case for Miami being 2, and then Georgia, and then certainly then then there's that group with Penn State and Oregon and Oklahoma. I like Oklahoma. I still don't think that they're elite, but they've made a major stride this year with Ben Arbuckle and Don Mateer coming in from Washington State. Then I think Florida State, Texas A&M, Indiana. I think what Indiana did last week, and I witnessed it, was remarkable. So it was like at us to 10. I think Texas Tech. I just talked with Joey McGuire this morning. He's really excited about his team. And then at 12, I think you could probably go Ole Miss. I'm just not sold on Texas, guys. I think that the issue that Texas go beyond Arch. I just don't think that their receivers are elite. I don't know if they're as good at running back as they were last year. They're awesome on defense. And if some of those other position groups can catch up a little bit, they should be fine. But I'm just not ready to put them, into that top 12 just yet. And if I didn't say A&M, I would put them certainly in that mix too.
So your elite is Ohio State, Georgia, Miami, and then there's the next tier that Oregon is involved in.
Well, part of that's that those teams have all had better competition today, and that's not Oregon's fault. It's not. I mean, I guess you could say it's Penn State's fault because they didn't schedule anybody, but we just don't know what they are at this stage. Whereas LSU, for what it's worth, has wins over Clemson and in Florida. Obviously, Miami has looked really good. And their win over Notre Dame, I think, will get better and better. And then Texas, and then Ohio State has the win over Texas, but. If Oregon goes in and beats Penn State on the road, or if Penn State is dominant against Oregon, I think that both of those teams have a chance to rise in whatever the next ranking is.
Yeah, great stuff. Adam Rittenberg, senior college football writer for ESPN. Give him a follow on Twitter at ESPN Rittenberg. Enjoy maybe the best college football Saturday we've had in a long time. It's a great slate from start to finish. Thanks as always for the time in Portland, and let's do this again soon.
All right, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks.
There you go. Adam Rittenberg of ESPN.
Yeah, he started out with a ranking for me, and then it faded fast. He got to 4, and he just lumped teams together. I'm like, damn, dude. We
gave you 1, 2, 3. And then there's like that group of this teams, and then these teams, and then those teams.
Yeah.
And then, Ole Miss is one that's kind of flying under the radar. Big opportunity for them this weekend. Daily Ticker brought to you once again by our wonderful friends at Pelican Brewing Company. Their Hard Hops presents today's Daily Ticker. Discover Hard Hops Blackberry Hop-Infused Hard Seltzer and experience your hops differently. Let's talk about one of those teams that I asked him about, including a former coach ranting about the fan base. And this metric may be meaning more than it ever has. We'll get to those next on 105.1 FM The Fan.
a.m.
All right, welcome back in, 8:52. Happy Tuesday morning, everybody. It's going to be a short segment. Something just got reported that we should talk about in the final hour.
Your hatred is so funny.
Live strong over here.
One is you're in their head, and I know that based on somebody here.
Yeah.
But also, you just can't quit them either.
Oh, no, I love it. I love hating them.
Yeah.
Can't wait to whoop their ass in a couple of months. How would you feel if you had a former coach hanging around your program, constantly chiming in on how things were going? Mike Riley doing nothing but radio interviews talking about Oregon State football and criticizing fans. They make you feel a little weird?
Yeah, because it'd be way out of his nature. I think that's a tough example.
That's it. Yeah, right. Mike Riley's not a good example. Touche.
I think Bellotti would actually be more of a...
Bellotti's sitting around doing an interview after Oregon loses the Rose Bowl like, hey, what the hell are we doing here?
Still drawing his purse.
Well, yeah, that he is.
He got the mustache?
Can we cut that off? Is that cut offable? Can we? No? Okay.
I dare you to say that to his face.
I mean...
His mustache will whoop your ass.
That is true. His mustache would definitely whoop my ass. Here is a former coach...
Who would win in a fight? Bellotti's mustache or dirt?
Ooh, I think I'd take Bellotti's mustache. Minus 105.
Yeah.
It works out way more than I work out.
Yeah.
Barry Alvarez just hanging around Wisconsin. Guy just lounging around. The best part about it is not only is he still in the athletic department, he is also
he's like a shadow
doing
coach.
interviews.
Well,
and here he is on ESPN Madison Radio after the fans wanted Luke Fickell to be fired this weekend.
Coach, what do you make of how fans have reacted here
I think it's embarrassing. I think it's terrible, despicable. They're spoiled rotten. Here's a team that
sucks.
You got young players trying to come on. They're competing. They're going to have a chance to get better, and you flip on them. They're early in the season, and you flip on them, and you're
terrible.
Chanting for the coach.
Shut up.
What do you think that makes? How do you think that makes the players feel?
Who cares? They're paid.
Exactly. And that's
a great
just,
point, Coach.
That's
Great
that's
point,
just,
Coach.
That's disrespectful. It's not loyal. You're not a fan.
Not a fan.
Paid to get in the
If
building.
a person sitting next to me, boom, I tell him, get your ass out of here.
I paid.
We don't need you in here. You don't
you
want to
do.
watch this?
Yeah.
Go someplace else.
No, I
Go
don't.
open a bar. You know, that really upsets me.
I cannot stand this guy. I've not liked him for so long. And I'll be honest with you, if I was a diehard Wisconsin fan, thank you for your services. Could you just shut up and disappear?
Maybe the reason Wisconsin football's in a bad spot is because they let this guy hang on and make all their calls, and he's running coaches out of town.
Yes.
And then the one time he hires a guy who's been in, like Paul Chris wasn't terrible. Gary Anderson won games. I know that's not a great name in this neck of the woods, but he won 9 games in 11. He was only there for 2 years. Paul Chris went to a Rose Bowl. Like, he had decent. He went to an Orange Bowl.
And
he went to a Cotton Bowl. Wasn't good enough for him. Luke Fickell's been a disaster, and you decide to die on this hill.
Yep.
They played Maryland at home on Saturday morning. Nobody watched, and they were down 20-0 at halftime.
And that freshman quarterback from Maryland lit him up.
Lit them up, and there was maybe 5,000 people in the stands at the start of the fourth quarter. And that is one of the most proud fan bases that exist. Jump around's one of the best traditions.
Yeah.
They have died as a fan base because of Luke Fickell, and this guy's doing interviews saying you're an idiot.
I would also, I know people haven't followed it, and we don't need to spend a lot of time on 2-2 Wisconsin.
No, we don't.
I watched their Miami-Ohio game a little bit. They took forever to score in that game against Miami, Ohio.
They might win 3 games this year.
The MTSU game, they ended up winning by 32. That was another game that took them a minute to get going, and that one, they're not a good team.
Nope.
They're awful. It's one of the worst hires. It's a bad cultural fit. It's a terrible system brought to the wrong place. And the funniest part, you know why he's being like this? They signed Luke Fickell to a 1-year extension in February that made his contract drag out to 2032. They're stuck. They're getting TV money. It doesn't matter. Nope. These programs don't want to buy out coaches for these crazy prices anymore. And I think he knows how stupid this was to give a guy who accomplished nothing at Wisconsin another extension on a contract. I just, fans and citizens and us the people, man, we speak how we feel. And if we want to boo you and tell you you're terrible, shove it, Alvarez. Maybe you should be looking at the problem, and the problem is on the sideline, not in the stands.
Also have the hardest schedule remaining in all of college football, so have fun with that the rest of the way. Wisconsin going 3-9 this year. We got a lot to get to in the final hour of the show. Mail sack coming up at 9:15. Get your questions into the fan text line, 503-864-6326. We'll start with some media news that I find interesting. Is this a smart move or a dumb move? And then also the metric that maybe should be the most important in this sport. Start the final hour with our next 105.1 FM, The Fan.
On the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the Detroit Lions sitting at 2-1 after a 38-30 win over the Ravens in Baltimore, where they sacked Lamar Jackson 7 times. They ran it for 224 yards and 4 touchdowns, clinching the game on a 4th and 2 completion from Jared Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Injuries abound after Week 3 of the NFL. The hapless Cowboys trying to figure out what to do with CeeDee Lamb, who's going to miss 3 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain, may put him on injured reserve. Chargers did confirm running back Najee Harris suffered a torn Achilles tendon. He's done for the rest of the season. And the 49ers will be without Nick Bosa for the rest of the year. He suffered a torn ACL. One playoff spot left to be clinched in the National League. Padres grabbed their berth with a 5-4 win over the Brewers in 11 innings Monday night. Mariners trying to close in on the AL West crown, hosting the Rockies. 6:40 first pitch on Root Sports tonight. They start the final week of the regular season with a 3-game lead on the Astros. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of the firm.
Hey, let's do this. Final hour, Dirt and Sprague here, 105.1. The Fan, Portland sports leader. And live on the Odyssey app and YouTube. By the way, kudos to Swag for getting the YouTube vid back up and running. Went down earlier, but we carry on. We charge forward. The YouTube feed is back up. I just asked Swag something really inappropriate before we started the final hour, and I can't say that on the air. No. How many times, though? I am curious.
We're on to Seattle.
All right, mail sack coming up. Get your questions in. Fan text line 503-864-6326. Sports, not sports. Very bummed to miss the mail sack last Tuesday. Excited to be back for it. Will probably be a half hour. So let's not fart around too much here because I got a few things I got to wedge into this segment.
Bruce Pearl, right.
I don't want to talk. I don't care about Bruce Pearl.
Really?
I don't. It's not college basketball season. It is so out of, I'm not going to think about college basketball until the end of February.
Are you having an earthquake or is that a jackhammer?
That's a jackhammer. They got a jackhammer out there.
What are we jackhammering around
got a
here?
guy.
I don't know. There's barriers right on the road out around the corners.
What was that?
That's the jackhammer motion.
That's not how your hands work.
Yes, it is. That's how they do it. That's how they go.
Where's Jack Coletto? Anybody seen him?
I was walking out to go take a leak during the break, and Jeff Russ used the Molly Shannon analogy from Talladega Nights, where she's sitting in the racetrack and the chair's rattling.
You haven't been fine since Suzanne Summers got brought up on this show.
No, I have not.
It's shaking my table.
It's shaking.
Yes.
It's shaking.
It feels like an earthquake.
If you're a construction crew listening to the show and you're jackhammering by our station, just know we can feel you.
Okay.
This got reported a little bit ago. I found it interesting. Should we make fun of them or give them credit?
Okay.
It was reported by John Orand, I think is how you say his name.
Yeah, the media guy.
He reports
Sports
on
Business Journal, I believe.
Business. He's not there anymore. I think he's got a different venture, but formerly of the Sports Business
He's
Journal.
a media guy that reports on media people.
Yes, and TV deals
yeah.
and media deals and all that stuff, right? He reported that USC, so this one of the big debates about USC in the last, I don't know, however many months has been, are they going to continue to play the Notre Dame game? If they do, where does it fall on the schedule? And Lincoln Riley's doing the whole, is it fair that we have to play this game and other teams get a patsy in non-conference, right? That whole thing. Well, he is reporting that USC essentially tried to circumvent the Big Ten's media deal without telling them. And they approached Notre Dame and said, hey, how about we make this a neutral site game every year? And then just sell the game on our own to Netflix without telling anybody.
It's a brilliant idea.
And then the Big Ten got wind of it and were like, yeah, no, not going to do that. We're paying you 90. What's the Big Ten full share of media? 80-something million, 90-something million a year.
Yep.
And we get the rights to the Notre Dame USC game every other year when it's in L.A. and not in South Bend, Indiana. Mm-hmm. And we could put it on Fox, on CBS, or on NBC. Yet no, cannot do that. And they inform them that they cannot themselves sell media rights to non-conference games on their own, no matter where the game is located.
It's a brilliant idea. It's just... The fact that it leaked is pretty problematic.
It's pretty funny.
How much would they make from it?
Netflix, a good amount of money for sure.
Great amount of money
to get Notre Dame USC every year. I guarantee you, that's a game that fetches
millions.
Even when teams are bad, you're probably going to get it north of 5 million viewers. A USC Notre Dame game. I'll see if I can pull up last year's ratings.
Well, Notre Dame's. What does Notre Dame get for their independent?
Their NBC deal?
That I don't know.
Like $30 million a year, and it's like 6 or 7 games a year.
Let me look that up.
I thought that was the number I had heard, but maybe it's gone well north of that now.
Notre Dame signed in 2023 is worth approximately $50 million a year for home football
So
games.
they're getting
extending through the 2029 season.
$8 to $10 million a game, depending on how many home games they have.
Yeah. And actually, they also, by the way,
$10 million for that on Netflix.
They also bring in $17 million a year from the ACC joint. Our toes in your waters. They get $17 million
so they're
a
getting
year.
close to $70 million a year.
The ACC gives them $17 million
for all non-football, all their basketball, all their non-football sports.
Wow.
They get $17 million a year. They get a little partial share. The ACC had to sweeten that pot in order to get them to do that. They need Notre Dame more than Notre Dame needs them, because Notre Dame could easily say, "All right, you don't want to give us money. We'll go do the Big Ten with our non-football sports."
I love that the ACC, by the way, finally was like, fine. We'll also play non-conference games.
We'll do it too.
As if we didn't know you were going to ultimately conclude to do the same thing as the power conferences of that sport. That's a sweet deal.
That's why Notre Dame's never going to join a conference. You're wondering why they're not going to join a conference? That's why. I saw that. Part of me tips the cap of like, all right, that's kind of a creative idea. I also love that the Big Ten caught them and were like, what? No, bro. Who do you think you are that you can go sell this game? You're a Big Ten team now. You're in Big Ten country. You can't go sell that game. I saw this metric tweeted out yesterday, and it's something that we've talked about, and I know you've brought up many times over the years, and that is when you build a football team at the college football ranks, how much should be through the portal and how much should be through high school recruiting, right? And the best ones find a blend, and they do a little bit of both. This is a graphic. Do you care to guess the 7 highest ranked transfer portal classes from last year's recruiting cycle?
That one's going to be tough because I think there's going to be some real failures on that list that hit it and didn't hit it right. Florida State's got to be one of them, right?
Florida State is number 6 on this list. I will give you a hint.
Is Auburn one of them?
Auburn is not one of them. Of the top 7 transfer portal ranked classes in all of college football, their combined records through the first month of the season is 27-0.
Really?
LSU was number 1.
Okay.
Texas Tech was number 2.
Yep.
Miami was number 3.
Yep.
Ole Miss was number 4. Oregon was number 5. Florida State was number 6.
Yeah.
Missouri was number 7. Those were your 7 highest ranked transfer portal classes. Now, look, the long ways to go for Ole Miss and for Missouri.
We're going to have years, though, where that's the opposite.
Without a doubt. I just saw this, and I'm like, God, that is in light of the Dabo Sweeney stuff that we've talked so much about over the last 2 weeks of lack of portal, and they got a couple of guys, but is it enough? And is there a sense of urgency and all that?
They really didn't get that many guys.
No, it was like
portal.
4 guys, I want to say. It wasn't that big volume. It just was big because they never brought anybody in.
That was more than the other couple years combined, and we acted like it was 9 to 10, and I remember looking at it going, 4?
Yeah.
4? And that's a big deal for them. Like, change your thinking. You don't have to go your whole team in the portal. There's a balance of that, right? And again, I said this earlier. When you have the right coaches, you get the right guys in the portal that work for your program, your system, your culture. I think the right coaches can do it. You also have years like Mike Norvell had, where I'm left shrugging my shoulders going, is he a good coach? Because he went all in on the portal again last year, and it was terrible.
It did not go well for him last year.
He did it again, and they're good. So you're going to have – I just think it's going to be ebbs and flows of this. I bet you if you gave some of these guys truth serum, they don't want to be so reliant on it. But when you have success repeatedly, the way Dan Lanning has at Oregon, you also probably start thinking, I can do this. I can identify the talent in that portal and still continue to nab some of the 5 stars.
Well, and some of these numbers, too, are widely different, right? Like Ole Miss is number 4 on this list. They brought in 30 players in the transfer portal. Oregon's number 5 on this list. They brought in 11 players in the transfer portal. So that's a huge difference of, volume of kids that you're bringing in.
Yep.
To your point, there's going to be hits and misses every single year. It just was interesting to see that where the top 7 classes at the end of the portal window from last year are 27-0 to start the season. And so it is becoming, more and more the metric that we look at in terms of, all right, you might have a good team, but do you have a great team? And are there pieces that you're missing? Can you find the right pieces? I think where Florida State got in trouble last year was they tried to build their entire team essentially through it.
Sure.
And they lost a lot of talent. They had this huge volume of kids. And not that they didn't this year. They had 23 kids in the transfer portal. So that's still a decent amount of guys that they brought in. But the ones that can do it and blend it the right way, where you're bringing in, home run hitters on top of guys that you recruited and developed, it clearly is a strategy that has worked, and it becomes maybe one of the most important ratings or metrics that we look at in the offseason of college football.
So if you look at it from last year,
who was it last year?
Who did you say the top 7?
So the top 7 this
Okay.
year: LSU, Texas Tech, Miami, Ole Miss, Oregon, Florida State, Missouri, and they have not lost a game combined.
So there's some good in here, and there's also, this is kind of my point, Louisville was 1.
How many games did Louisville end up winning last year?
I want to say they had a decent little season.
They
for
were okay,
themselves.
right?
Colorado was 2.
Yeah, Colorado.
And that was 8-4.
That was 8-4. Yeah.
But right now, Deion's projected to be a 5-7 coach on average in 3 seasons.
Yeah, they were not in the top 7 this year in the portal rankings.
Florida State was 3. We know how that went.
Yeah, it was a disaster.
Ole Miss was 4. They were close to
They
a
had a good year.
playoff.
Yeah.
Oregon, obviously, and they had their magical season.
Yep.
Texas, and then NC State.
Okay. Louisville, by the way, 8-4 last year, so not terrible.
So
but
you had some not amazing, you had some really good, and then you had a little bit of like meh.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of my point is this year you can point to it and say great. And I think next year you could look at it and say meh. Or maybe you have a couple years of great. You just don't want to be too reliant on it, but you're definitely going to be able to hit on it. And not addressing the portal or the needs of your roster, I just think it's a fundamental failure as a program to not do it.
You mentioned there at the start of the segment, you guys follow it far more closely than I do. Do you have any thoughts on Bruce Pearl stepping down as college basketball fans? Because I won't spend any time thinking about that.
Not surprising given the rumors of the Senate stuff, but then I found out he said he's not running for it.
He just wants to be an ambassador to Auburn.
No, he wants to be a political pundit and absolutely do a podcast that
There's
says, like,
something else behind the scenes.
Pearl's
going on.
Wisdoms is coming out, and he's going to give you the hard-hitting truth of society and how some things are awful and we need to change.
So it's either that or there was some health stuff behind it.
Everybody freaking out about the nepotism of Bronny James, pissed off that he hired his son to be the...
Well, his son was on staff.
His son was on staff.
He was a medical sales rep until like 2017.
See, I think this is what's funny about it. I don't know what he's going to do. We'll see if he doesn't run for Senate.
Can we act like this guy? Do we need to pretend that this guy's the most qualified candidate? I know
think
exactly what he was doing.
The obvious thing here is he knew he was going to do this, and he waited till this time and this moment to do it so his son could basically get the gig. And
Auburn
then get
can't
the
go find another head coach. The season starts in a month.
No.
It's the same thing. Didn't Jay Wright do this where he left like a month before the year started? This happened who else was
Bennett
it?
did.
Bennett, thank you.
For
At Virginia.
UVA, yeah.
He's like, a month before the year starts. See you later, I'm out.
Wofford just fired their coach.
What?
Yeah.
There's what?
Not that you need to care about Wofford basketball, but they were like, they just fired their coach.
You should be fearing the Terriers.
Not anymore. They just fired their coach. What am I scared of now?
Why should we be fearing the Terriers?
They're a tournament team every year.
Usually.
Yeah. That's one of those random 13 seeds you see pop up in your bracket.
Pelicans are having media day today.
Already. Ours is next Monday.
Is college basketball just going to be on our TV and punch us all in the face? And we're going to go, what?
Yeah.
15 straight hours of commercial-free college basketball.
November
Especially with how meaningless
3rd.
some of those early games are. Like, there's a lot of really bad games early in the... Hell, they get to play preseason games, don't they, that don't count in college basketball?
That's starting to be a trend. You're going to start seeing some more
Oregon will play like
exhibition.
Northwest Christian College.
Well, there's
what?
actually some schools that are playing like other big. It's an exhibition, like a fundraiser for something locally, natural disaster or this, that, or the other thing. So, coaches love that because they do want to play against. They want a preseason game. They want a chance to go see what it looks like against an actual real opponent.
Florida won the championship, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who
Definitely.
did they beat? Who did they beat?
I know this.
Who did they beat?
Hold on.
Who did they beat?
Didn't they beat Auburn?
I don't know.
I think they beat Auburn.
Did they beat Auburn? Swag doesn't know. If Swag doesn't know, that tells you all you need to know about college basketball.
I love playing this game.
I have no
year.
idea. I just remember they had a 7-footer they didn't really play.
Oh, Houston. Yeah, I'm positive they beat Houston. I didn't
Final
look it up.
answer.
I was going to Google it, and then I remembered Houston was
Auburn
really
got
good.
to the Final Four.
Final
yes,
answer.
With
and they
Janai
lost.
Broom.
Yes.
But yeah, Houston.
Yeah, it was Houston 65-63. Remember, it came down, and they didn't shoot it.
Who won the title the year before?
Right. Swag?
2 years ago. Who won the title 2 years ago?
It's kind of crazy how much you watch the sport. And
you
little
can say in
remember
every
about
other sport, you can name me, you could rattle off how many champions in a row. And in college basketball,
It comes and goes. So the tournament comes and goes so fast.
You can't do
And you're like, wait, what?
Hold on.
Yeah, them.
You're gonna give. Wasn't it UConn? Didn't Hurley win back to back?
Yeah, it
Okay.
was.
Who did they beat?
Right. San Diego State.
Sure, why not? Mail sack next on the Fam.
a.m.
All right, welcome back in. 9:21 on a Tuesday morning. You know what that means it's time for?
Yeah, I do. Hold on.
Mail sack. Mail sack.
When did you guys record those? This morning? Was that
Don't
a this
worry
morning
about it.
thing? Oh, solid. All right, here we go. Mail sack time. Here we go. See what we got. Mail sack. First question up in the sack today is long-winded from a mail sack P1, so bear with me.
All right.
Long-winded, apologies ahead of time. Long story short, we had circumstances come up and we had to switch venues for our wedding. With that switch, we sadly had to switch the date to a closer date. Originally, it was for August of 2026. Now it's for June of 2026. So he's getting married next June. Okay, following along. We had to inform our photographer that we need engagement photos for our invitation sooner. The fiance and photographer picked this Saturday at 5 p.m. As a big Ducks and football fan, what the hell do I do to attempt to kibosh this, or what would you do? Sending it early so you can paraphrase if you need to.
Well, first of all, I hate to tell you this because I appreciate a mail sack P1. My wife would never put me in this position. She would understand that this is not feasible during football season. We will make those photos in February. We'll turn and burn the photos for the invitations. We'll send them out in March. The wedding's in June. You shouldn't need that long to think about going to a wedding.
Big wedding business is out of control.
It's pretty nuts.
It is ruining society.
I hate to tell you this.
Why are we taking photographs in September for a wedding that's not until next June?
Well, people want to get their S together. They might have a lot of family and friends out of the state or city. You're kind of screwed. You got to DVR the game and you got to watch it on delay.
You have no options.
You cannot railroad any wedding element of your potential wife. Don't put yourself in that doghouse.
Here's what I would say for future you. First off, there are no such things as losses in life. There's only lessons, and you need to learn a lesson from this one. This is where you got to get out in front of the big stuff and say, if we're changing things or if you're making plans, hey, remember
date and times.
There is this on Saturday on September 27th, Oregon plays at Penn State. Can we please not have anything to do that evening? You want to do something in the morning? You want to do something Sunday? You want to do something Friday? I'm all for it. Saturday at 4:30, it's off. You got to look out ahead of the sports calendar as a soon-to-be married man, and you got to mark your territory with authority of the events that you don't want to miss. Yeah. Because now, once it's scheduled, you're screwed and there's no getting out of it.
Yeah, you're done. So
you're there.
You're going to have to DVR.
You're wearing a flannel shirt taking pictures in a park on Saturday in the first quarter of Oregon Penn State.
You have this person in flannel, huh?
I don't know what people wear for engagement photos. I remember when we took ours, and I just thought, this is...
You took some?
We did, yeah.
We got married in Hawaii. We didn't do any of that. It was great.
You don't need to take them.
No, you don't.
It is such a waste of money.
It could just say, you're cordially invited.
Everything wedding related.
Yes, no.
Such a
nice
waste of money.
calligraphy on some, solid
just
card stock. You're good.
Flushing money down the toilet.
But Andrew,
you're lighting it on fire is what you're doing. I'd rather put 10 grand on fire in my backyard than spend it on all this
You'd rather
crap.
take 10 grand of the sports book at A&A.
You've been dreaming
How about I turn
this.
your 10 grand into 20 grand?
Exactly.
I got a plan.
Well, if you wife was in a Sprague in line, that wasn't good for you two this weekend.
No, DVR it and
avoid your phone. Turn your phone off. DVR the game and watch it unplugged when you get home.
And make the only thing you can do is just
shouldn't take more than an hour. Wedding
speed
photos
that thing
don't
up
take too
as
long.
much as
Caught
possible.
a little bit of wind, by the way, and flack of using the term DVRing a couple weeks ago. Someone's like, I can't believe you're still using the term DVRing. And
Well,
I'm
what's recording?
recording?
I guess.
Is that what we say now?
What-
Record.
digital library.
Okay, fine.
I'm gonna add it to my digital library.
I like DVRing. I think it's great.
DVR is digital video recording. How is that still not? The device doesn't.
I just had
exist
somebody go
anymore.
at me and be like, I can't believe you still use that term DVRing. I'm
People
like,
are stupid.
Okay, all right.
Millsack question: who is on the Mount Rushmore of fictional football players? I think Bobby Boucher is a lock.
I don't know about that one.
Bobby Boucher was pretty damn good, dude. He won the Bourbon Bowl.
What does
He took the community college over East Mississippi or wherever he was playing to beat Louisiana State.
I got
longest yard quarterback?
Cruz.
Cruz.
Paul Crew.
Give
Paul
me
Reckenford.
Georgievich from All the Right Moves.
What about Willie Beeman?
Willie
Steeman,
Beeman,
Willie
Steeman,
Beeman. Well,
yeah.
how many
Steeman, Willie
quarterbacks
Beeman.
are you going to have?
Likely all quarterbacks. What about Al Bundy?
Ooh.
5 touchdowns against
And the state
Full County?
title game.
He was a running back.
He was a running back, so now we're
Georgievich
mixing it
was
up.
What about Becky the
defensive
Icebox?
That's a good poll right there. Becky the Icebox was an intimidator over the middle.
I mean,
how about the deaf tight end and the replacements? That guy got hands of glue.
Yeah, I also got some other stuff in that. Shane Falco
Shane
over the Duff
Falco.
guy.
Shane Falco couldn't win the big one, though. I don't know if
He
I
did
won.
win the big one.
Eventually did, but it took him a long time to win the
Now,
big
that
one.
might
I don't
be
know
my
if they won.
coach, though. That might be my head coach.
You want Falco to become the head coach?
No.
Or Gene Hackman?
Hackman's, I forgot what his character's name was.
What about Joe
but-
Kingman? The Game Plan, The Rock.
Never saw that movie.
Learn a life lesson.
Never saw that one.
You can make up being an absentee father and change as a human being while being a loving, supporting franchise quarterback.
That's pretty good. I love talking fictional football
Well,
players.
who is it, though? He asked the
you
question.
can't-
You can't just say no and then laugh
I can't
and move
narrow
on.
it down to 4. That's too hard. Willie Beeman's got to be on there for me.
I really do think Paul Crewe has to be
Paul
on it.
Crewe, I'm cool with.
Beating the...
He just had some drug issues and some alcohol issues. It turned his life left.
Gambling issue.
Oh, is that what it was?
Took a dive.
Gambling issues?
Yeah.
college football? Are we missing a college football character? There's got to be an obvious one.
Well, what about from the program?
Oh, yeah, I can't remember any of the guys' names off the top of my head, but some of the program guys would have been.
What
great.
about Michael Orr?
I mean, but he's real.
He blocked that blind side.
He did, but he's also not.
Yeah, that
fictional.
was
He's
a,
real.
Yeah.
You're right.
I've been waiting for everybody to make a Rudy joke here, but nobody's making a Rudy joke. No.
What about Julius Campbell?
But again, I think he was technically a real person.
Or Gary Bertier.
Strong side.
Right side, left side. Yeah,
Is Rudy there? Is he a top flight edge rusher?
dude, he was dominant off the edge. You keep your head on a swivel.
I keep naming real people.
yeah, you're going the wrong
Oh,
direction.
here we go.
You're going fictional,
Dude,
Not-
Rod
not-
Tidwell.
Yeah,
Oh,
That guy was
yes.
basically undrafted, got a 3-year, $9 million
that is
deal.
a great poll. Rod Tidwell's a
Rod
great
Tidwell's
poll.
on there.
Yeah.
Show me the money.
I love the black man. Show me the money. He's got to be on that. All-time character.
All right, who else are we missing? Alvin Mack and Darnell Jefferson are two names from the program.
Oh, Forrest Whitaker's character from Fast Times.
Oh,
Jefferson.
good poll. What about Forrest Gump? Nobody could catch him.
All-time kick return.
All-time kick returner. Couldn't get him to stop when he was running in the tunnel, but he would house call you.
Oh, man. We're going to need some time and spot to get this down to 4.
What is
Man, I just thought they flew him in for games.
hold on. I'm blanking on his name.
What about Billy Bob and Varsity Blues?
What about Mox?
He might have had some issues.
Mox
Mox
was a backup quarterback.
Mox came
Give me
in.
Tweeter.
Yeah, Tweeter. Tweeter was
I
a
love
hell of an athlete.
10!
Trying to scroll through and see. This is gonna. I mean, this. Is
I think
good.
I have Rod Tidwell on my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, Tidwell,
I got
Steamin' Willie Beeman.
Steamin' Willie Beeman, number 2.
I think I'm going
Paul Crewe, 3.
I think I'm going Jefferson from Fast Times.
Okay, that's a good one. So I got 3 of the 4.
Yeah, I'm throwing Icebox on there. Why not?
Becky the Icebox.
Give me Icebox, dude.
Dude, Spike don't play with girls.
She put that
Yeah,
eye
'cause
black
she
on.
Just hammered you down.
Yeah, she's wearing a skirt over
Maybe
the middle. She'll
Goldie
lay
Hawn
the wood.
is my coach.
Goldie Hawn. That's a good poll from
I'm not mad at
Wildcats.
that. Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
God, I
choice.
haven't seen that movie in so long. Okay, let's get one more in here, shall we? That
It's
just
those
sidetracked us.
questions that derail the entire segment.
thing. Let's see here. Let me find a more fun short one here. Your
I bet you would.
college team is in the CFP championship, and your NFL team is in the Super Bowl. You can only choose one. Which one do you go to?
College football.
Is my team gonna win?
You don't know either one.
Because I've seen my football team lose 3 Super Bowls in the last handful of years, and
I've
it's
seen
not
my
been
team win a
great.
national championship in person. It's not a great thing to be at.
I think the
I still will
college
take-
football championship is about that game. The Super Bowl is about so much more.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a
nonsense
desire
going
to
on.
go to a Super Bowl?
No,
Like it's obviously
not in
super
any-
expensive,
not in
but like
any
if-
way.
No,
Not
too corporate. Too
way too corporate. I
Yeah.
hate it. I'm not interested.
Just to say you went to one to like have the
No.
ticket, not a bucket list
not
thing
really.
at all. Yeah.
No.
I'd be more inclined to go like if it was some sponsor you had a relationship with and said, "Hey, we got these and we're in boxes or what."
The unfortunate part is
If
it's
it
gotta
was
be
my
college
team,
football.
no.
I think so, yeah.
Because
I-
Oregon State going to a natty is never going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, in this scenario, you're allowed to see it happening.
Yeah, no, that's why it's that scenario. My other team
But I
has
think
made
the
the Super Bowl.
college
Yeah,
football championship game now is just really about that game. It's just all about the game. Like if you went and
Yeah, but it's becoming very
it's-
close to
no,
the
I know,
corporatization
and they'll
of the Super
have
Bowl.
stuff, but I don't think it's a whole week long.
Give it a couple more years and then see what their halftime show becomes. I'm just saying, with the athletes making money, the sport is the second most popular. We're already almost there. It's going to creep to it, and people are going to be like, really weird game to go to. Felt like I was with a bunch of dry suits.
Yeah, that's a bummer when it happens. I would take national championship too. I tend to agree with you. I don't know if I had the opportunity to go to Super Bowl, I probably would. It's not something I would go out of my way to.
Are you like gifting me free tickets and a flight, or if I'm paying out of my pocket, I'm never going?
Yeah. What if I gave you free tickets, but you got to pay for everything else?
Am I getting access to parties of note?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd kick it around, yeah.
Okay.
If I could go to some of the parties.
Go to a party the week before or the
Yes.
night before or whatever,
Yeah.
you'd be more interested. More Mail Sack coming up next, but first here's us with a update.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, I was all set to run down the WNBA schedule here in the playoffs with your semifinal doubleheader. However,
breaking news.
Breaking news.
Jackson Dart will start for the New York Giants against the Chargers here in Week 4.
Well,
What
why
took
would
you so long?
line him up against that defense? Let Russ Wilson get sacked half the game and then put him in at the back end. Whatever, at least he's playing. Also, Portland Fire. Go hire the Liberty coach that for some reason they didn't want to retain.
Exactly.
I don't know what we're doing here. Make that announcement tomorrow.
Does she like? Does UNESCO like her?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
They
so.
get along okay?
She's going to be a free agent.
Let's sign UNESCO. Get the coach.
Have you ever heard of the European alder spittlebug, Andrew?
No, I have not.
Of course you don't. They secrete foam out of their butt to protect them from predators. There's a new skincare company that's looking to absorb that foam
Butt foam?
so you can rub it on your face.
Oh, put some butt foam on your face?
Absolutely.
I've done that before. We haven't talked about Fred Van Vliet tearing an ACL all show.
Yeah, how about that?
That happened. DJ Lagway's back in a boot. So good luck the rest of the way, Florida.
Is he bad or is just
I
a
don't
coaching
know.
issue there?
I also saw this. The Mariners have the 4th longest division title droughts in all of baseball. One of them's pretty obvious. There's only 2 teams that have never won their division. You know who the 2 teams are?
Nope.
The Colorado Rockies have never won the NL West.
Yes.
And the Miami Marlins / Florida Marlins
Never won the
have never
NL
won
East.
the NL East.
Get you 2 of those, though.
Yeah.
All right. More WNBA, insect butt foam, and baseball stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigert from the George McCoy Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt missing work insurance company acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live